we haven't really accomplished anything in the 7 years that we've been in Phoenix or the 3 years that Charles has been here.
This is a make-or-break time for us, I think, because if we don't win it this year, we probably are going to make a lot of changes.
3 years ago, acquiring Charles Barkley was a big change for a Phoenix franchise that has never won an NBA title. That season, they made it to the finals, but met defeat at the hands of the three-peating Bulls. Last year, a sudden collapse into a black hole of injuries and misery against Houston, a bitter loss to the eventual champions. As long as the Suns last in this run for glory, questions will persist. If not this group, who? If not this season, when?
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1995 NBA playoffs. Today, it's the Phoenix Suns versus the Houston Rockets.
Welcome to the Summit here in Houston, Texas for Game 3 of this best-of-7 series. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. The Phoenix Suns have not only won the first 2 games of this series, they've blown the Rockets away. But if you're thinking that the Suns are feeling good about their situation, listen to Coach Paul Westphal.
These guys are the kings of the comeback. They're like, you know, the cockroach. They say that if they live through nuclear war, radiation, nothing will kill them. I mean, the only way that you beat a team like that is to get them down and step on them, and then make sure that they're squashed good, because you can't ever take them for granted. They've proven too much. We have too much respect for them.
Well, look at the cockroaches alongside me today. Steve Jones and Bill Walton. Let's first talk, Steve, about the Phoenix Suns. They were up 2-0 a year ago, ended up losing the series, but this is a different team with a different attitude.
There's no question, Greg, that this team has changed its attitude. A year ago, they've been willing to settle with the split, be up 3-1. This year, they have step-on-a mentality. They want to crush them, and the guy that's leading the charge is Charles Barkley. Barkley has been adamant about getting the series over as quickly as he can. He's playing with a sense and purpose that he hasn't had in any time in his NBA career.
All right, and as for the Houston Rockets, Bill Walton, they came back from a 2-0 deficit last year, so there is some hope.
Certainly is, but it's such a long road back. For starters, they've got the king, Hakeem Olajuwon, the reigning MVP. But for Houston to get back into this series, they're going to have to turn everything all around, because they got hammered so bad out in Phoenix. It was embarrassing. They couldn't shoot. They couldn't score. They couldn't rebound. They couldn't defend. They forgot how to play basketball. Clyde Drexler, though, just told us that this series starts today. Houston is ready to go.
All right, Bill, something for the Rockets and their fans to think about, the urgency at hand. No team has ever gone down 0-3 and come back to win a 7-game series. Starting lineups from Houston when we come back.
NBC is brought to you by Red Dog Beer. Full yet smooth, unusually easy to drink. You are your own dog. By Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. And by Acura, who invites you to test drive the exciting new TL Series.
Back at the Summit in Houston, here are the starting lineups for Game 3 of this best-of-7 series. First of all, for the visiting Phoenix Suns in the backcourt, Kevin Johnson is joined by the rookie Wesley Person. Up front, Joe Klein in the middle. Charles Barkley having an outstanding series, as is AC Green. And for the homestanding Houston Rockets, the defending champions trying to win their first of this series, Kenny Smith and Clyde Drexler in the backcourt. Hakeem Olajuwon is flanked by a couple of 6'10 guys, Robert Horry and Pete Chilcutt. Rudy Tomjanovich, 24-18 in the playoffs is his record. It's his 4th season as the Rockets head coach. And his opposite number on the other bench in his 3rd season as head coach of the Phoenix Suns, Paul Westphal. His playoff record is 24-15. There is Hakeem Olajuwon, on whom all the Rockets' weight seems to be falling these days.
when in doubt in Houston, just ask Hakeem to do more than he's always done. One of the top performers in the history of the NBA playoffs, the defending champions.
The difference, it has been Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley has really had a sense about getting this thing over with. He is playing under control. He is making every play a good one, and he's had a lot of chance to rest. In every series, Charles Barkley has done big damage and set down, with the exception of the last game in Portland, and that was personal. He just stayed out a little bit longer to stick the knife in a little bit deeper.
The officials for this afternoon's game. That is Greg Willard set to toss it at center court. He's joined by Jess Kersey and Bennett Salvatore, and Barkley will jump it against Olajuwon. And the opening tap to the Rockets. Drexler. And a whistle immediately goes against the Rockets. And that's Drexler.
So often when you miss that first little shot inside, you're over anxious, super aggressive, super hyped. You pick up that silly foul. Drexler needs to stay in the ball game.
Joe Klein, top of the key. Horry had it, lost it, and recovered. Houston fans sensitive about the officiating. Clyde Drexler was ejected in the second quarter of game number 1 in Phoenix.
The thing that the Houston Rockets should be looking to do is move themselves and not stand around. Stagnant is what the theme of the first 2 ball games were for Rudy's team. They've got to have movement. They've got to have cutters going to the hoop. If they don't, they're inviting the Phoenix Suns to rebound the ball and run it down their throat.
Olajuwon against the double team, still hit.
You made the comment about the officiating, Greg. What would you expect a player to say after they got blown out by 20 both times? What are you going to say? Phoenix is just a better team? No, of course they're going to blame the refs.
On the turnover, Smith gives it up. Kevin Johnson scores at the other end. And we're tied at 2.
Kenny Smith has to make better decisions on the break. Phoenix wants to make this an up-and-down game. Drexler will get out of the wings.
Olajuwon off front. Tap no good. Green with a rebound. Person. Green with the offensive rebound, and it'll be a jump ball.
That's where the Suns have hurt the Houston Rockets. Getting second and third opportunities, and AC Green is the guy. They've got to have a body on AC Green. He's going to come after every ball that's on the rim. Rudy has not gotten an answer for this guy yet.
Barkley with the ball.
It's all about defensive rotations. Hakeem is going for the block. You got to get in front of these rebounders, Barkley and Green and Klein.
Kevin Johnson. KJ puts the Suns up 14.
Kevin Johnson had 38 points apiece in game 3 and 4 between these two teams last year, the first time they ever met in the playoffs.
And Smith nails a 3. Houston.
Kevin Johnson knows that he can get by Kenny Smith off the dribble, and it could be one of those personal duels right at the start of this ball game. Kenny Smith said he had to be aggressive, he had to make something happen, and initially looking at a three-pointer with plenty of room, he gets it up and down.
You're getting killed on the defensive end trying to get it back on the O.
Well, you finally learned. You have finally learned that if you can't guard somebody, make them guard you.
Barkley back up top, slows things down, and then backs in on Robert Horry. Ball away.
No double team late on Barkley. Hakeem deep in the post.
Spins, goes to the baseline, and draws the foul from Joe Klein. Give you an idea of the problems that Hakeem Olajuwon has had. 9 rebounds total in the first 2 games of this series. By comparison, AC Green had 15 boards in the first game and 14 in game 2.
But Phoenix is shooting 56% in the first 2 games as a team. That's remarkable. Very few rebounds to be had. Plus, they've all been right in Hakeem's face. You can't play every position out there, although he will try.
This is what got the Rockets in trouble in past games against the Horry buck through and throws it over the top.
If you can get by that first line of defense for Phoenix, there's nobody at the hoop to block with the exception of Barkley.
7-4, Houston by 3. Barkley again, behind the back to AC Green.
Shades of Wilt Chamberlain, the behind-the-back wraparound to the cutting guards.
Olajuwon fights his way through, and here come the Suns again. Barkley will take the 3. And Hakeem with the rebound. Here come the Rockets again. Drexler underneath for Chilka.
As we learned from the Chicago Bulls last night, the superstars have got to pass the ball when they got 2 and 3 guys on them. Hakeem forcing a few shots, Drexler that time finding the open man.
But the difference so far is the Rockets' willingness to take 2-point field goals. In Phoenix, they were settling for the 3, and of course they had a great series against the Utah Jazz, in which they almost, annihilated that team with the 3-point shot alone.
Joe Klein's hitting that top of the key jumper. He's 11 for 15 in the series now.
Olajuwon with the ball stripped away from him. 9-8 Houston, 7:35 to play in the first.
Barkley in the deep post, time and time again.
Kenny Smith is a guy that is going to leave his man, and they're going to hope that they don't find Kevin Johnson when they find AC Green.
And Pete Chilcutt fouled him on his way to the basket.
One of the things that Drexler has always been able to do is pass the basketball, reaches around the defense to get an easy opportunity for Chilcutt.
One thing we've seen repeatedly through all these NBA playoff series is non-offensive players like AC Green in the low post. The defenders are trying for come around the side steals, just allowing wide open layups. Let's see what kind of turnaround jump shot he's got fading to his left.
AC Green is now 12 out of 12 from the line against the Rockets in this series. 3-point play. Suns up 2, 11-9, 7:15 to play here in the first. Horry.
No shot.
That shot won't count. He blows the whistle. Salvatore does on AC Green.
But at least the Rockets are competitive at this point. The first 2 games, by now, the game was virtually over.
Timeout Houston. Timeout Rockets.
Well, the action is over for a moment. 7 minutes, 13 seconds to play in the first. 11-9 Phoenix. We're coming back. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Where the Suns lead the Rockets by a score of 11-9. Houston playing with just 10 players left on their roster and an ailing superstar. Hakeem Olajuwon is struggling with a very painful bruise in his right rib cage. Hakeem told me that he cannot take anti-inflammatory medication for this, which would be the normal treatment, because last time he did, it resulted in a severe anemia, which he's still being treated for. He is, however, wearing a larger pad on those ribs. By the way, Sam Cassell, who had flu-like symptoms, has just started eating solid food this morning. He has some pancakes and says he has a little bit of his strength back, right?
All right, Hannah. Robert Horry misses inside, and back come the Suns with a 2-point lead and 7 minutes to play in the first. Kevin Johnson, as Steve Jones mentioned, handily beating Kenny Smith off the dribble in games 1 and 2. Smith says he didn't want that to happen today.
He said it was an embarrassment, and he was going to try to keep Kevin Johnson in front of him, which is a difficult task. I mean, Kevin is the most explosive and dangerous guard off the dribble in the NBA, and he is playing extremely well.
Meanwhile, Joe Klein continues his output. He has doubled his scoring output from the regular season, and Hakeem on the inside with a basket.
Joe Klein has finally realized that he's going to have that shot his rest of his career. He's got the great post-up play that demands the double team. He got penetration capability by KJ.
Person to the baseline. Here comes Drexler. Sets up Kenny Smith for 2.
These are the 2 teams, Phoenix and Houston, that lead the NBA in 3-point shot attempts. You'd expect both teams to just fire it up. I really think, though, that Hakeem has to handle it a lot more than he has been in the low box.
Score tied at 13. Barkley again. Kevin Johnson out of the corner. And Olajuwon with the board.
They've done a good job of controlling Barkley here early in the games. And Phoenix, he was off to terrific starts, and he hasn't had an impact here in the first 7 minutes of play, trying to get the ball to Olajuwon.
AJ shooting 67% in the series coming into today. But they're just collapsing so much. The outside shots not there for Houston.
Chilka off the board. Kenny Smith, cross court. Drexler up for three.
Those are the shots that went down in their great victory against Utah. Not a one of those was made in the first two games.
Kevin Johnson threw the foul. Hammered as he went down the lane. Let's go back to Clyde.
Clyde Drexler has really shot the ball well from the perimeter since arriving, and he needed to see that first shot deep go in.
And once again, Kevin Johnson just blasting by a helpless Kenny Smith. You would think that would be much more serious of a problem in the pick and roll situation, but this is just in a one-on-one breakdown. And when Kevin Johnson is as healthy as he is right now, there's not a player in basketball that can stay with him.
It's real difficult, and the problem that they're having is not that Kenny's getting beat because they know that's going to happen. It's the way that it's happening so quickly. The weak side defense is not able to react. He's at the basket. He's either getting the hoop and the foul or the foul. He gets two more, so he's the guy that's carrying the torch for him at the offensive end right now.
6 points for Kevin Johnson. 16-15, Houston leads by 1. Chucky Brown onto the floor to replace Pete Chilka. Drexler. And Dan Marley and Wayman Tisdale on the floor for the Suns. AC Green had it down the lane, lost it, recovered.
Phoenix a lot deeper team than Houston.
Barkley on the baseline. And he's now 0 for 4 from the field.
And they're only down 1.
Smith.
Push on Barkley.
Charles Barkley. Number 1 on Barkley.
Great. Well, we got a minute. Bill was in this situation, 0-2, in a championship round. What was the mentality of the Portland team and yours in particular?
You learn that the only games that matter are the ones that the road team are the victor in, unless, of course, it's the 7th game, which you got to have. Right now, Houston in perfect position. They still have to get one at Phoenix.
Olajuwon on the turnaround. Hey, you know what a liability that is to ask Bill Walton live on air what his mentality was at any given time? We have a license to protect you. Kevin Johnson. And Drexler with the rebound. Houston doing the boards much better in this game than they did in the first 2.
The outside shot's not dropping for Phoenix.
Olajuwon again. 8 for Akeem.
Lionel Holland said before the ballgame he thought that they would come into Olajuwon often and early, and that has been the case, which is, of course, has souped up the Rockets at the defensive end.
Marley way off the mark.
Houston's finally playing some defense. They were so exhausted after that demanding Utah series.
Drexler again. Paul Westphal says timeout.
There's a new direction in touring luxury automobiles. One with flawless workmanship, a rich leather-trimmed interior, and exceptional performance. For everyone who's been searching for the perfect car.
I think it's great when you can play with the best center in the game and just kind of watch him work night after night. He's an inspiration, and he's the guy that makes this team work, and it's a great situation.
So, so much fun watching him and just to see him work. His work ethics is unbelievable. Just how hard he works every night. running down the floor, rebounding, stealing the ball, just making things happen. I really enjoy playing with him again.
One of the things that Clyde Drexler has brought to that team, as their numbers show that they've come to play today, is that he's got that world championship hunger, something that this current Rocket team has been criticized for during the course of the season.
And the jury's still out in Portland on whether or not it was a good trade for the Trailblazers. Barkley missed again.
But it was a trade that had to be made.
Drexler was extremely unhappy. They had to move him or live with a player that probably couldn't be moved.
Ori Olajuwon.
It started with Olajuwon. Everybody touched it, and then he ends up with the jumper from his initial spot. That's terrific team basketball.
Olajuwon has 10. Barkley is 0 for 5 from the floor, looking for his first point, and fouled on the baseline. Foul is on Chucky Brown. That's number 1 on Brown.
For Charles Barkley, he's having the kind of start that Olajuwon had in games 1 and 2. Everything is difficult. Everything is being challenged. Ori thought they got a jump, but Barkley will go to the line where he has dominated Ori, Chucky Brown, anybody else has been down on the low box, and they haven't let him get started down there so far, and he's got to figure it out.
Phoenix has become the best shooting free throw team in the playoffs, well over 82% as a squad. But the playoffs are all about adjustments, and Rudy T, after game 1, switched off Chilcutt and put Ori, gave him the challenge of having to slow down Barkley. The first 2 games, a total wash for Houston, apparently paying off now that defensive transition by Rudy Tomjanovich.
Barkley's first 2 of the game, and the field goal situation turned completely around early on here for Phoenix. Kenny Smith for 3.
But also the defensive attitude. The Phoenix Suns are not challenging. In Phoenix, they were up and they were aggressive. They made every shot a difficult one. The shots that Kenny Smith has had, he's had plenty of space and time to shoot it.
Tisdale open for the shot. Barkley the rebound, lost it, taken away by Drexler. Hakeem Olajuwon.
When your big man runs the floor like that, there is no limit to what your team can accomplish.
And a whistle on the play before the shot.
The thing that Drexler brought to this team was his ability to push the ball and make plays off the dribble. Here's an overlay, but the big guy is right there on the finishing end for the throwdown, and they're the team that's getting the transition basket. In Phoenix, that didn't happen. They were always chasing, and it was the Suns that were having all the fun.
Drexler is the type of player that can make plays that you can anticipate to feed off, whereas Vernon Maxwell, who's no longer with the team, would come down and do something that you would totally catch you off guard, and you would ask yourself, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Get the long rebound.
Barkley takes a seat on the bench. 2 points, both from the free throw line.
Now, what the Phoenix Suns have to do right now is just withstand this emotional start. We saw it in the game last night. The Bulls got off to a terrific start. Orlando was able to weather it, get control of the second quarter of play.
Olajuwon following. Tisdale with the rebound. 1 minute remaining here in the first. AC Green on the move. Scoop doesn't go. Here come the Rockets again.
Drexler at his best when he's rebounding at both ends of the floor.
And Green with the steal. And Cassell took it right back. And then had to give it back to Green on his way out of bounds. And there's a foul at center court by Ori on Kevin Johnson. Number 1 on Robert Ori.
Olajuwon a little gassed, and he's asking for a breather. He's going to come out of the ball game. Charles Jones comes in, but he's expended a lot of energy here early trying to make sure that he established himself down in the low box. Now they have no low post presence amongst the big men. That means Drexler will probably go down.
The Akeem's always been a player, though, who will get tired. That's the way he plays. Phoenix, with half a minute left in the first quarter, they got 20 points. It's the highest scoring team in the NBA playoffs at 119 points a game. It's going to take them 4 overtimes to get there at this point.
But they're also a team that can score 40 in a quarter and, make that difference up. So you know that this is a team that you have to continue to score the ball against. Right now, Kevin Johnson just trying to keep them close.
26-21, Houston.
Phoenix hasn't gone to Danny Ainge yet. He's the guy they usually turn to when things are going south.
Cassell was a tough matchup for Kevin Johnson in game 1. Got 31 points against him.
Horry. (29-21) Houston. Last 10 seconds of the period. Shays had it taken away by Chucky Brown at the buzzer. Phoenix led by 2 after the first quarter of game 1 and led by a bunch after game 2, but it's a different story here. The superstar battle is being won by Olajuwon with 3 quarters to go. 29-21 Houston. We're coming back for the start of the second quarter at the Summit in just a moment.
Well, Paul Westphal told his team that when Akeem Olajuwon is on the bench, they need to trap on the pick and roll. Also, Charles Barkley encouraging his teammates. He said, look, the Rockets have played as well as they possibly can, and they're up by only 8 points. We can get back in this thing easily. As for the Rockets, they're really happy with their patience on offense, particularly with the way that Akeem Olajuwon is reading the defense, Greg.
All right, Hannah.
This is a really dangerous lineup for Houston right now. The front court, Chucky Brown, Charles Jones.
Oh, what a drive by Kevin Johnson.
That's what Kevin Johnson has got to do. Break down the defense, make them react. If they don't come to him, make the shot, and he's done it so far here in the first 13 minutes of play.
Sam Cassell wants the ball badly. He wants to post up Johnson. Horry's shot is off the mark, and Tisdale with the rebound, and Wayman lost the shoot.
Now, if you're a team in white, immediately what you need to do is double up on the ball. Go right to him because you're playing 4-on-5. Westphal says 20-second timeout.
20-second timeout so Wayman can get his shoes back on.
Equipment malfunction there as KJ gets to the hoop. Nobody rotates. Charles Jones, everybody just opening the gate. Matador defense.
Here's the numbers for Kevin Johnson. You see the first round against the Blazers, and he's improved both in field goal percentage and in points and in the number of assists he's given out against Houston.
But he has been able to get by the initial defender. The weak side defense is not reacting at all, and he's at point-blank range. Now, if he can't make those layups, then the Suns are in huge trouble. He's been cashing them. That's why that percentage is around 67%.
One of the problems, though, for Houston is that this is such a new team because of all the injuries and the changing personnel. Their defensive rotations are not natural and smooth at this point.
Wayman Tisdale lost it, got it back, and the shot was off the mark. Horry, Jones, Drexler, Brown, and Cassell on the floor for the Rockets.
They need to get Drexler the ball and let him create.
Cassell. Lost and recovered. Shot clock is at 8. He's going to drive again. Sam Cassell.
Take 25 dribbles and finally get a layup. I guess that's the offense when Akeem's not in there.
Well, he got 31 points doing that against the Suns. So he knows he can beat him off the dribble. And, he had the idea of getting into it at the offensive end. That was his first opportunity. And Danny Ainge ends up with him after this, and it's a no contest. He always has the ability to just move the ball around, beats him inside. Big difference between game 1. Now, if you were coaching, would you not let that guy who got 10 or 15 dribble a ball?
Yeah, but keep it on one side of the court. He lost it, got it down. Believe me, with the guys he's got out there, I'd let him do everything, but I would include Clyde Drexler in the playing situation and then get that young man right back into the game.
Mario Elie, his first appearance on the floor for Houston today. Phoenix now a perfect 11 out of 11 from the free throw line. They trail 31-25, 10.5 to play in the first half.
Significant improvement for Phoenix in the playoffs in rebounding and free throws. And that's a direct result of coaching.
Drexler shot off the mark, batted back by Jones. Drexler recovers. Cassell down the lane and drew the foul.
A herky-jerky kind of a driver, tough to read and control. They get the ball away from Drexler. He recovers, and then it's Sam Cassell making the play on his own. Anytime you got Cassell, you got to keep him in front of you. And Rudy is saying, I'm going to get a big game out of this guy this afternoon.
Well, Sam Cassell is one of the game's real big game players. He did it last year in the finals 2 different times. Game 3, the big victory at New York. Game 7, the clincher here at Houston. His emergence is one of the reasons why the Rockets have been able to take such a firm stand with Vernon Maxwell.
Cassell has 5 today. His 31 in Game 1 was a career high.
Difference in the defense philosophy, too. Cassell will go out and try to challenge Kevin Johnson a little bit more off the dribble.
Tisdale. Olajuwon got a piece of it. Here comes Houston again. Cassell dribbles back, goes right back at Johnson, drew the foul, and the basket.
You know, this game is interesting in that they have a lot of different ways to hurt you, and Sam Cassell can hurt Kevin Johnson on his own.
You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Reggie and the Pacers lead the series. A Knicks win ties it up. Game 4 next.
We made history on the American road. Now we're looking to the future. Introducing the new Ford Explorer. The top-selling compact sport utility that has standard dual airbags, as well as the roomiest interior, plus the one with the highest quality of any American compact sport utility. The new Ford Explorer. Far and away, the best the world has to offer.
Today's cars and trucks are more advanced than ever, but there is a price. Their harder-working engines can wreak havoc on the motor oil, breaking it down almost immediately. That's why Castrol GTX provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol, or your harder-working engine could make things hard on you. Castrol GTX, engineered for greater protection against breakdown. Buy a case of Castrol GTX or Syntec and get an officially licensed NBA ball.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. This is dull. Doesn't have to be.
And now the starting lineup. That groom from Texas, Billy Clyde Humphrey. And at Bride, a 5'6" debutante from Alabama, Nell Peterson. The Humphrey wedding brought to you by Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice cold Miller Lite, life is good. The vows are up.
I do. I do.
And they're good. Whoa, Nelly!
That was beautiful, man.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. By the new Ford Explorer. Far and away, the best Ford Explorer ever. And by the Gatorade Company. If you're not standing on the sidelines, you're going to get thirsty. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Welcome back to Houston, where Sam Cassell has scored all 7 of the Rockets' points here in the second quarter. He's outscored Phoenix 7-2. As you take a look at his numbers, Steve, weren't we only yesterday asking Sam, how are you feeling? Because he hasn't been feeling well.
He had that food poisoning in Phoenix, and it hurt him in Game 2. He said he was ready. You can see against the Jazz, he was recovering from a sprained ankle, and he appears to be 100% this afternoon. The difficulty in handling Sam Cassell is that he's a herky-jerky dribbler, and you cannot read the direction that he's going, and he's got 8 points here in the quarter.
Well, Mr. Walton was just asking, what's he doing dribbling all over the floor, wasn't he?
I want to take that back. Clear out, give him the ball, get out of his way.
Barkley back into the game, back into the offense. His shot no good. Barkley 0 for 6 from the floor. Chucky Brown.
If that goes, you know it's Houston's day.
Barkley had Gasol on him, and Gasol now is going to go down in the low post, but you watch that. He'll get in there and fight and challenge him, ends up with a foul, but he wasn't going to let Barkley just get that easy opportunity. Barkley on the previous play thought he could get away with a quick one. He just missed the shot, and I think that Westball wants to get this guy going, hasn't figured out how, thought he got fouled.
Best way to get going when you're playing like Charles is today is turn and face and get to the hoop.
There's a cheap one on Chucky Brown. That's number 2 on Brown.
That's 2 hands in the back. That's an automatic call.
Yeah, but it's cheap.
That's what the rules are.
Oh, I know that. Cheap rules.
Suddenly you're an advocate of the rules. Both, you know, it's a tough assignment for Chucky Brown to keep Barkley off the box.
Barkley off the mark again. Cassell on the run.
Much better offense for Houston now.
Smith behind the back, and it's off of a foot. It'll be Phoenix basketball. That saved a breakaway basket by the Suns.
Kenny Smith looked like he was going to go down the lane, and he surprised Olajuwon, and he kicked it off his foot. So they get the ball and a fresh 24, Chucky Brown out of the ball game.
Chucky Brown out. Robert Horry back in.
Good substitution by Rudy Tomjanovich. Even though the Rockets in command right now, don't let Barkley get ahead of steam.
Fine. Gets Olajuwon in the air, takes the short jumper and hits again. Joe Klein has 6. Cassell forces it inside and then back out. Olajuwon. And foul from behind on Cassell, and that's number 2.
The one thing that Joe Klein can do is make a jump shot. Olajuwon's aware of that and leaves his feet on the pump fake, and he steps up and makes that shot. Klein's one of those funny players where he can't make a 1-footer, but he can make a 17-footer.
That sort of describes my game, right, Steve?
No, you couldn't shoot. You know, your coach told you just play above the rim, Bill.
Barkley again, and Barkley was fouled. Foul is on Robert Horry, who vigorously objects.
The 2 MVPs from the last 2 years going at it in this series. Foul down low. Easy play to call.
The defensive convergence there, that wasn't there for the Rockets in the first 2 games.
Well, plus Barkley is taking so much time to deliver the ball. In games 1 and 2, Phoenix was attacking so quickly. Quick shooting, no pressure defense by Houston in games 1 and 2.
At the top of the day, Steve Jones talked about how Charles Barkley has kicked things into gear. Look at the percentage, the points, the rebounds.
And he has been just on fire in all 5 games. Today is the first time that we've seen any kind of struggle at the offensive end for Barkley, who looks at the scoreboard knowing they're down by 9.
3 points for Charles, all 3 from the free throw line. Olajuwon didn't roll for him. Horry recovers. Cassell across the lane. Sam Cassell lost control, recovered, and hit the shot. He has 10.
He has it going.
No surprise that this guy Cassell is playing well. It comes from a terrific program.
Kenny Smith will shoot 2.
Sam Cassell, who went to Dunbar High School in Baltimore, Maryland, where Reggie Lewis, Muggsy Bogues, David Wingate all went on to become terrific players. Sam Cassell joining that elite group.
Cassell is a lot like Nick Van Exel in the sense that they can play well in big moments. And they relish playing well in big moments. And, you know, he's got a lot of courage. He's a big-time player. You know, so if the game doesn't mean much, he doesn't play very well.
7:25 to play in the first half. The Rockets with a 12-point lead. We come back to Houston.
getting their big breaks playing the Monopoly game.
I won.
At McDonald's, just eat, play, win. Like Nora Brady, Kim Elsasser, Marquila Green, Liz Williams, and Father John Lane. So go directly to McDonald's. But hurry, game pieces are almost gone.
Yeah, I took the high endurance challenge from Old Spice because I didn't really think it could work better than my old deodorant. But it does. If you don't think it's the best, call 1-800-PROVE-IT and they'll buy you a stick of yours. Now you got proof. Guaranteed.
I found a way to make my money really perform. I bought this car, a R2G3. I refuse to go broke trying to look good. Did I mention this car's a blast?
I'm no financial genius. I just feel like one. Now save up to $2,610 on Ford Pro with option packages. See what I mean?
I'm back.
An all-new Problem Child movie.
That's entertainment.
For the first time, Problem Child 3, tonight at 8/7 Central on NBC.
Back at the Summit in Houston, the Rockets are leading the Phoenix Suns by a score of 40-28. Sam Cassell has scored 10, all 10 in the second quarter, and excelling in the playoffs is nothing new to the second-year guard out of Florida State. In the deciding Game 7 of last season's conference semifinal between the Rockets and the Suns, Cassell hit this big three-pointer that gave the Rockets an 8-point lead with less than 5 minutes to play. And then he calmly stepped to the free throw line and sank a pair of shots to ice the game in the final minute. The Rockets eliminated the Suns and then moved on to claim the NBA championship. And those are his numbers, and as we said, all here in the second quarter.
Kenny Smith is going to get to the line here because of a beautiful screen set on the fast break by Mario Elie.
Kenny Smith now 22 out of 22 in the postseason.
Phoenix has to start shooting, though, Greg and Steve. They're 8 for 25 on the game, 32%. Barkley over 7.
And a nice lead for Danny Ainge from Barkley.
Reason that Ainge was able to get that shot up and down, Cassell didn't know where the ball was. And by the time he recognized it, Ainge was up and down with it over the top.
Rockets lead by 11, and that foul is on Elliott Perry just into the game for the Suns.
The reason that these kinds of plays are successful, no pressure on the passer. You see Charles Barkley is basically able to guide Danny Ainge right to the basket. Robert Horry's got to have his hands up and distract Charles Barkley, put some doubt in his mind.
See the Suns scoring drought. Back outside, Horry for three.
Clyde Drexler saved Hakeem Olajuwon in a very embarrassing moment there. And a forced shot, air ball, presence of mind though, and then Horry delivers the three.
Guys that have stepped up offensively, Horry, Smith, and Sam Cassell in game 3.
Elliott Perry, far side jumper's good.
Hakeem just covers everyone out there. He denied Barkley from his weak side slash. Then he got back. Perry, one of the game's best field goal percentage shooters. 52% on the season. Second only among guards to John Stockton.
Olajuwon's jumper is good over Joe Klein. He has 14.
Patience. Olajuwon let the weak side give him some activity, clear things out, and then he was able to just wheel inside against Joe Klein.
Ellie gave a knee, and he got caught. Go back to Hakeem with his patience.
The jump hook. He just determined to get to the middle. You got a body. Even though he's going to make the turnaround to the baseline almost every time as well, I think you're better off guarding Hakeem, forcing him toward that baseline.
That's the reason that he developed the baseline jumper as Dan Marley got into this playoff series. He didn't play that well against Portland, but his numbers, they're beginning to pick up. He's one of the guys that is very streaky. And in a game where it's loose and free, you can look for Dan Marley to get a big quarter or a big spurt at some point in that game.
Marley 1 out of 2 from the line that trip, 5:40 to play first half.
But when you've won 13 out of your last 14 games like Phoenix has done, as Akeem drains another jumper, it's hard to put any sort of a negative spin on what Phoenix is doing.
Olajuwon has 16 on the day. Marley off the mark.
And Barkley's asking, what do I need to do to get the ball? And his teammates are saying, well, just make a shot and we'll come back to you.
Olajuwon again.
So when Olajuwon's like this, across the middle, baseline fadeaway, there's nothing you can do.
Paul timeout. Paul Westphal has one of those looks on his faces. Or his face. 50-33, Houston.
You're watching NBC, the premier sports television network.
The new Ford Explorer is the perfect vehicle for life's little ups and downs. With advanced features like automatic control track 4-wheel drive, standard dual airbags, and 4-wheel anti-lock disc brakes. Plus the roomiest interior of any leading compact sport utility. In fact, if you find anything that makes a bigger impression than a new Ford Explorer, run.
Getting through college can be a pretty tough climb. To succeed, you need money and you need the right abilities. You can find them both in the Army. If you qualify, you could earn up to $30,000 with the Montgomery GI Bill, plus the Army College Fund. And you could develop the confidence, judgment, and self-discipline it takes to make it to the top. In college and beyond.
Michael Jordan. To find what you desire requires a great effort. You look thirsty. Gatorade?
Thanks. How come?
I know why you have come. You wish to know the meaning of life.
And?
Life is a sport. Think it up.
That's what I figured.
NBC Monday, it's the Fresh Prince wedding. Nothing could go wrong. 3 problems. The parents hate each other. Will's getting cold feet.
I need my mommy.
Plus, Will's mom and Lisa's dad. Too much. And the season finale of In the House. After the Fresh Prince wedding, NBC Monday.
Here's what's ahead on the Prudential Halftime Report. We'll bring you my conversation with the Pacers' Reggie Miller, obviously the central figure in the Knicks-Pacers series. Indiana leads it 2-1, heading into today's Game 4 at Market Square Arena. We have it for you after the Suns and the Rockets. Also at halftime, we'll hear from Julius Erving and Peter Bessie on the first half of this one, which the Rockets lead 50-33, as we head back to our quartet of Gumbel, Jones, Walton, and Storm.
All right, Bob, and Hakeem Olajuwon is the man of the hour here in Houston. He is hit 9 out of 15 from the floor. His 18 points this afternoon have already equaled his total point output in Game 1, and he's already grabbed more rebounds than he did in either of the first 2 games.
His playoff average dropped after 2 tough ball games. He just torched the Utah Jazz. There was nothing they could do, and he's having that kind of afternoon today. Kevin Johnson back in the game.
So Klein gets Olajuwon in the air again. This time doesn't convert. Horry with another rebound.
Houston on a 13-5 run the last 240. Hakeem's got 6 of those 13 points.
AC Green back in a hurry. Suns with Kevin Johnson, Klein, Green, Barkley, and Wesley Person. Their starting lineup. Johnson threw it away.
Indecision that time. Guys running away from the ball. You got to space yourself off Kevin Johnson's creativity.
Kevin Johnson turned down a chance to go to the middle, and I think he's trying to get everybody anybody else involved in the game, but what he needs to do right now is score the ball. Barkley can't do it. He's not got that offensive efficiency going, so they got to have somebody making baskets.
Out of the corner. Cassell can't connect. Barkley comes back. Leads the break down the middle. Beats AC Green, who is fouled.
Finally, a good play for Phoenix. They're being pounded on the glass.
One of the problems that Sam Cassell has is he puts his hands on people a lot. Now, right here, in trying to get across to AC Green, put a hands on the hip. So the official gives AC Green the call. Sam Cassell, who'd been very effective in the quarter, now sits down with 3 personal fouls.
AC Green has developed into one of the premier foul shooters in this year's playoffs. Just 1 miss.
And none against Houston. 50-36, 3:45 to play first half.
Drexler's being guarded by AC Green. He's got to figure out a way to get inside.
And Drexler fouled on his way to the basket by Barkley.
The rebounds have been so key in this game. Second foul on Barkley. But in the first 2 games, Phoenix out-rebounded Houston by 15 a game. In this game, it's been 23-14 in favor of Houston.
But that's because the Rockets were shooting quickly and deep, and they didn't have a chance to get back and rebound any of their shots. Drexler off to a slow start from the field, but matchups and mismatches are what the playoffs are all about. And if AC Green is going to guard Drexler, Drexler has to put the ball on the floor and go to the rim.
3.5 to play. First half, 52-36, Houston.
They're just clearing out.
Tackle off Wesley Person's hand.
You have to wonder what Phoenix is doing offensively. You got Charles Barkley, AC Green, and Kevin Johnson without the ball, and Joe Klein and Wesley Person playing catch out in front. 2 consecutive possessions, nothing but turnovers.
Shot clock at 10. Olajuwon across the lane, drew the foul, and he'll go to the line. Talk about a reversal of fortune. The way these teams have shot in the first 2 games, and then the numbers are completely turned around this afternoon so far.
And that may be indicative of the desperation, the sense of urgency for Phoenix to get off very early at home, dominate the series, and now these guys with their back to the wall have really come out with some energy and fire. One of the things that Rudy was really unhappy about in game 2, his team did not compete. They were flat, they didn't react, and they got stomped.
They're tired. They've been playing so many games.
When did tired count for anything in the playoffs? You can't afford to be tired if you're the defending champ.
Well, the failures of the regular season killed them. The fact that they come in as the 5th seed, they go to 5 games. They could have closed that out in 4. Against Utah, they would have been a lot better off.
AC Green, shot clock at 6. Fall away, no good. Ellie up high for the rebound. Kenny Smith for 3. Ellie with the follow. Wesley Person gets off a 3, and that's off the mark. Tap, and a whistle blows on the baseline, and the foul is a good ball. Shays and Olajuwon fighting for the loose ball, and it hit a part of the back of the backboard.
Those long corkscrew jump shots by Kenny Smith. So hard to read where in the heck that ball is going. Mario Ellie, lucky to be in the right spot.
The team in white, and that's been the case in all 3 games, has had the energy. The home team has been energized this afternoon. This crowd is about to explode on us before we go to a break if they get one more big play.
Clyde Drexler once again told us just before the game, this series starts today.
Drexler. Oh! 9 for Drexler.
Kevin Johnson shaking his head.
And a 3-second violation against the Suns. Let's go back and take a look at the shot by Clyde Drexler.
Drexler throughout his career has made a lot of tough shots, and with the crowd and everything going their way, he just raises up and nails one over Kevin Johnson, and the crowd really has gotten into it. We got a 20-second timeout, but they have been making noise for about the last 2 minutes.
While we have a moment, let's remind you that coming up next here on NBC, Game 2 of our playoff doubleheader, Patrick Ewing leads the New York Knicks against Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers in a pivotal Game 4 Eastern Conference semifinal. The Pacers lead that series 2-1. Pacers hosting the Knicks. Up next here on NBC. I was talking before the game with Kevin Johnson about how there are reversals of fortune, especially when a team has gotten spanked very hard. We saw the Lakers come back against the San Antonio Spurs last night, and look at what the Houston Rockets are doing. It's like they were in every game.
You're talking about guys playing with terrific pride right now. The Lakers, that series is so far from over. Lakers coming back with so much size. They're tall up front. They pass the ball. Athletic shot blockers. Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel. But then Akeem Olajuwon, the king, the reigning MVP. You got to hammer him hard if you're ever going to have a chance to win.
Olajuwon. Fouled by Shays.
You said hammer, so Danny tapped him just a little bit. Olajuwon has gotten going now, and he's feeling it, and he's setting both Joe Klein and Danny Shays up for any move that he wants to make. Shays too close, and that's the reason for the foul.
The problem with hammering this guy, Hannah was talking earlier about his injuries. This guy, Akeem Olajuwon, is like Michael Jordan. They are the two toughest guys in the league. They are solid as a concrete wall. The most skilled players, the most physically conditioned players, it's all on display today.
Hakeem with 21. The Rockets, 59 points with 1:05 to play. Phoenix scored 75 in the first half of Game 1, 61 in the first half of Game 2. They won't come near those numbers today. Shot clock is at 8. Tisdale. And a loose ball foul against the Rockets.
Chilcott over the top of Danny Shays, so they'll be getting a chance to go to the free throw line. But if you notice, the Rockets defense is more active and reactive. They're doubling Kevin Johnson whenever they get a chance, forcing him to give up the ball, and then their rotation back is much better. In games 1 and 2, there was no defense, there was no energy, and that's the difference in the game so far.
Bill mentioned the pride factor, and you and I were talking yesterday, Steve, about what Rudy Tomjanovich might do after those first 2 games, and you said screaming and yelling at these guys won't do it. You just let the pride settle in and see if they have enough pride to come out and play the way they can, like defending champions.
They had a team meeting, and they knew what they did wrong, and it was all about correcting it and make sure that they came out and took care of business at the outset of the game. They set the tone.
40 seconds to play in the first half. Olajuwon looking to draw the foul, didn't get it. Kind of forced that shot.
Solid defense, Shays.
Kevin Johnson looks at the basket and scores.
Phoenix just wants to get this half over with. Hope that's all they can do that Akeem and Drexler don't continue their terrific shooting.
35% shooting by the Suns here in the first half. A drastic turnaround in the first 2 games of this series. Shot clock is at 6. Drexler looking to score on AC Green, goes up top.
Steve mentioned it earlier. That's a bad matchup for Phoenix.
Danny Ainge at the buzzer. What a first half of play for the Houston Rockets. Olajuwon and Drexler showing the way to a 62-40 halftime lead as the Rockets look to get off the floor. The Prudential halftime report right after this.
It's as far as Michelin science.
NBA playoffs.
Coach Paul Westphal. Paul, Charles Barkley without a field goal in the first half. How do you get him involved in the offense in the second half?
Well, we'll get him involved. He just got to make him. He's struggling a little bit today, and we'll keep going to him and hope he gets it going.
Your defensive intensity was really a key in the first two games. How do you get back to that way of playing?
Well, we just got to do it. We can't rely. I don't think we are relying on the fact that we have a lead. I mean, we knew they'd come out charged up. They were hitting their shots. We're not hitting our shots, and we're not controlling the boards like we did the first two games. And you get a big deficit when those things happen.
All right, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Thanks. Greg?
All right, Hannah, and there is the man who has to begin to get it done if the Phoenix Suns are going to mount any kind of comeback here in the second half. 3 points in the first half. He's averaging 31.4 points a game in the playoffs. Well short. Barkley.
He's capable of having huge periods or halves as they double him and force him to give up the ball.
Barkley with just 3 points today in the first half, 0 for 7 from the floor.
Halfway there in the record for futility in the NBA playoff history books. 0 for 14 is that record, held by two guys, Chick Reeser of Baltimore and Dennis Johnson of the Seattle Supersonics.
Now, come on, you don't think that Barkley's going to get shut out, do you?
No, I think he'll make one.
Well, he didn't make that one.
He'll make one to get started, and then he'll go on a huge tear. The biggest thing for Phoenix, though, as they're down 22, and Ori picks up 2 quick fouls to start the half. But you got a situation here. You cannot allow, Phoenix cannot allow Houston to just walk away with this thing. This is a long series on the horizon.
Mentioned Barkley's scoring average here in the playoffs. That is second only to Michael Jordan's 32.3 so far, and Hakeem Olajuwon working on that 31. Barkley now with 4 on the afternoon, and Robert Horry, maybe a little nagging thing in the back of Rudy Tomjanovich's mind. Robert Horry sat down with 4 fouls now.
Robert Horry came out very quickly, tried to make a steal, got a foul, and then on this last play, so he sits down after really doing a pretty good job defensively against Charles Barkley. Barkley shook his head after missing that one at point-blank range.
And Chucky Brown loses his footing. Ball goes out of bounds, and the ball goes back to Phoenix.
Now look at your forwards. You're Hakeem Olajuwon. You're the king, the reigning MVP. And you got Chucky Brown and Pete Chilcott as your forward. You're looking around. Where's Ori? Where's Herrera? Where's Otis Thorpe? No wonder he's got a bad neck.
Yeah, he's looking around too much. You got to play with what you got. They beat the Utah Jazz with that group, so this is the same group that's got to get it done. And if they collectively make Barkley take tough shots as they just did, they still hold the lead.
Charles, normally magnificent in Game 3 of playoff series.
Kenny Smith for 3. Tapped up, no good by Chilcott. Chilcott had good position and wouldn't roll in for him.
Those are the kind you got to bring down and go back up.
Chucky Brown with the loose ball. Here come the Rockets.
Team in transition.
20-point lead for Houston.
And he's got AC Green on him. He's got to go to work.
And he did.
One of the reasons coaches change up so much when they go from the big banger and Klein to the small, quicker AC Green, very tough. Olajuwon, the best at making that quick adjustment.
Barkley still looking for that first field goal. Klein, top of the key, open again, hit it again.
They will let Joe Klein beat them. If Joe Klein can make 200 of those, then they figure that Phoenix deserves to win the game.
Hakeem spins on Klein and gets them out. 25 for Olajuwon.
That ball had no chance to go in when it was delivered. The roll, though, the soft touch, the snap of the wrist.
Barkley, fall away. And won't fall for him.
Yesterday, Barkley told us he'd waste 3 or 4 jumpers to see how the defense was going to read. He's wasting everything because none of it's going in, so they're able to stay on him pretty tough. And we'll see if Barkley's confidence slides and he stops shooting.
Olajuwon isn't stopping. 27 for Akeem.
You can't make trades or sign free agents in the middle of the third quarter of Game 3, so timeouts and fouls are about all you can do in this situation.
The lob, too much for Barkley. Point lead for the Rockets. They are looking for more. Olajuwon. Let it go. There was a rumor he might be human.
You know, there was a fan that asked us, Bill Walton, did you shoot like this? And you'll see Olajuwon squeeze through the double team and hit the fadeaway. You always wanted to jump that like that.
That is a thing of beauty. The guy can put it up from basically anywhere on the court. No shot.
That basket won't count. Drexler draws the foul before he made his move. I want to remind you, up next here on NBC, Game 2 of our playoff doubleheader this afternoon. The New York Knicks down 2 games to 1 in Indiana to face Reggie Miller and the Pacers. That's up next here on NBC.
The Knicks have played well enough to be up 3-0. And here they find themselves in a very tenuous situation.
Getting more tenuous by the moment. The more Akeem puts up a shot, the Suns want timeout.
I love this game. Absolutely love this game.
Where are you going? Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers. By Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth. And by McDonald's, the official break of the NBA. Have you had your break today?
At a noisy Summit, the Rockets threatening to fly away with Game 3. Let's check in with Hannah Storm. Hannah.
Well, Greg, last year the Rockets blew an 18-point lead at the end of the third quarter in their series against Phoenix, and Rudy T says that's fresh on the mind of his players. He did not need to remind them of that, but he did tell them at halftime not to rest on their laurels in the first half, to maintain the fire and intensity that they had in this game, and certainly they've done that thus far in the second half, Greg.
All right, Hannah, at the beginning of the day, we talked about the big men stepping up and doing what they can. Olajuwon and Drexler have combined for 41 points. Phoenix has 44.
Phoenix has gone to their scramble lineup, their desperation lineup. They bring Marley and Ainge in. You'll see nothing but threes from this point.
Olajuwon again.
You see nothing but a lot more of that is what you're going to see. There's no guy out there right now with the size or the strength to keep Olajuwon off the low block. They get him the ball. AC Green will try to do something with him, but when you're that small, you're not going to be able to deal with the guy that's on fire, and he's making shots from all angles right now. He's got 10 in the quarter, trying to get 11.
But that has been the burning question about the Phoenix Suns for the last couple of years. Are they good enough to overcome the fact that they don't have somebody that can go against the King? Somebody against David Robinson, against Shaq, against Patrick Ewing.
Well, up to this point, they've been good enough. Today, Charles Barkley has let them down. He has not been able to deliver the low post play as Kevin Johnson beat Kenny Smith on the on the pass on the back door.
And Smith guilty of the foul, and Phoenix basketball.
The interesting thing was that Barkley yesterday told us that he's never felt better.
Olajuwon over for the block. Barkley thought he had his first field goal of the day. It looked like gimme until Akeem flew into the picture.
And remember, yesterday he also told us everyone is giving Otis Thorpe a lot of credit for last year in struggling. He said, well, Otis didn't really do it. It was Olajuwon coming out of nowhere. He said, I had enough trouble fighting with Otis Thorpe, and then when I tried to get the ball in the air, here comes Olajuwon. And that has been the story of this afternoon's play against Charles Barkley. He can't find where Olajuwon's coming from.
How are these numbers? Barkley 0 for 10 from the floor. AC Green drew the foul. Barkley 0 for 10, Person 0 for 4, Tisdale 0 for 4, Marley 0 for 2.
That means that they're all still in Phoenix. And we are waiting for them to arrive.
Has the Suns bus arrived yet?
They came in last night, the 2-hour shot time change between Phoenix and Houston. Basically, this is a crack of dawn morning practice for them. They haven't woken up.
Bill, I've got to ask you, you see all of these balloons that they hand out to the fans at the end of the floor. Does that bother a professional basketball player taking a free throw?
You love that. You want them to cheer and go crazy. You stand up there, all you see as a player is what's inside the lines. When they're booing at you, that's the greatest feeling in the world.
Go ahead.
That only works if you make free throws. Stop with all that. You can't make a free throw. It distracts you even more.
73-46 Houston. Coming up on 7 minutes to play here in the third. Smith.
What a ball fake.
Olajuwon. And a 3-second violation.
Now that time they overpassed.
Too many.
You know, they got too happy, and it's too easy for them right now, and they're not taking that attitude. We just got to shove it down their throat.
But they're toying. They've got a 27-point lead.
Haynes.
And Barkley hasn't scored from the field yet.
Now see, he backed off of that. That tells you that Charles Barkley is human. Dan Marley finally scores, but like Michael Jordan, we saw him, all of a sudden him lose confidence. Barkley has lost his offensive confidence.
That was the kind of shot that Nick Van Exel has made look commonplace in the San Antonio LA series.
Drexler. Oh. 14 for Clyde Drexler. And Marley lost him about halfway to the basket. AC Green for 3. And it's all Rockets.
People question the trade, Otis Thorpe for Clyde Drexler. How are you going to go through the West with guys like Barkley, Karl Malone?
And Olajuwon stole the offensive rebound.
Well, he wants this one. He feels like dancing right now. I mean, he's backing out and trying to do everything. Rockets going for the home run with the 3-point field goal. They figure the Suns will just die.
And Elliot Perry got called for the travel.
And smiles all around between Drexler and Akeem. We're having a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. So far.
Olajuwon again.
As long as they have that lineup, you got to go there. I mean, AC Green cannot deal with that. He's got 13 in the quarter.
Why aren't they double teaming him? It's not like Akeem is going to start missing that shot.
Elliot Perry answers back with the 2. Akeem, by the way, for those of you scoring at home, has 34. Chucky Brown.
These are the guys that want to shoot the ball. Chucky Brown, Mario Ellie, whenever they get chances, that's going to give them a chance to get up and down the floor.
Marley. And AC Green on the offensive board. Blocked by Drexler.
You have guys who can double team off of in this Houston lineup, but Clyde Drexler doing it not just on offense, but on defense as well as AC Green gets rejected.
Barkley out of the ball game. Wayman Tisdale comes in.
And Green fouled under the basket. Charles Barkley shaking his head on an 0 for 10 day.
That's the other side of greatness. You got to deal with failure. And today he has failed. He has let his team down. Almost guaranteed tomorrow will be a different Charles Barkley. But, you know, he's going to accept that, that he didn't do his job. And he knows that if the Suns are to put them away, I think he figures that he might be through for the day. He's taking the Dennis Rodman seat.
The Rodman chair. You know, talking about this is a game tomorrow. It's a very quick turnaround on the NBA schedule, and we know that the NBA is a game of adjustments. How kind of adjustments is Paul Westphal going to be able to make overnight?
None. And what he'll tell his team is that was was just one of those bad games. We were due to have one. They've been playing at such a high for the last month. They were going to flatten out. He's going to tell them what we got to do is come back, rebound, try to defend better, and score the ball.
Just like that. Olajuwon has 36.
The harder thing is going to be for the Houston Rockets to come back. They're not going to come down from this game unless they really are focused in on what it takes. Knowing you have to force yourself to relax and forget about it. Come back tomorrow.
Wayman Tisdale pops the jumper. He has 4. 79-54 Houston. As we come up on 4 minutes to play here in the third quarter, the Rockets looking to rebound for a second straight year against the Phoenix Suns with a 2-0 deficit.
As long as he's out there, you got to throw the ball into Olajuwon. Make the defense react.
Drexler. You think maybe the same Houston team never made the trip to Phoenix?
Yeah, maybe they got trapped in Utah in the mountains somewhere.
Elliot Perry hits again.
Perry playing solidly in place of Kevin Johnson, who has not been a factor.
And Rudy Tomjanovich calls.
Whenever you have it going well, everything works well. And the two guys that had to come up big have done so. They forced the defense to collapse. Drexler from the outside.
Girl, I was sitting there with Rhonda playing the Monopoly game at McDonald's. It's easy when you buy large or medium drinks, supersized fries, or hash browns. Just pull off the tab and check out the back. Can't you see yourself winning instant prizes like delicious food, a Jeep Cherokee, $1 million? And you can win instantly. Or collect a Monopoly to win, and guess what? Girl, I won! Mickey D's in the house!
Play the Monopoly game at McDonald's, because with over 50 million prizes, the next winner could be you.
Have you had your break today?
Today's harder-working engines need Castrol GTX, the motor oil that provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. Because if your oil breaks down, what's next? Castrol GTX, engineered for greater protection against breakdown.
My dad once said, 90% of sports is from the neck up. Experience tells me he was right. They say only the strong survive. Experience tells me it's true. Now, I know I'm just a rookie, but I see what it takes to succeed. Hard work, strength, experience.
When a puck is flying at you at 90 miles an hour, I can't let hunger get in my way. So I grab a Snickers.
Packed with peanuts, milk, chocolate, and caramel. Nothing stops your hunger like a Snickers.
Excuse me, coming through.
It's a humdinger! These announcers gotta go.
Right.
Baker steps in. He's batting .206 and making $3 million a year.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's checking sign. What's he saying, Steve? Good news. I'm having your baby. Oh. This game is brought to you by Miller Lite. Expect great things from the great taste of Miller Lite.
Nice work, Steve.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Suicide squeeze! Ow! Terrible!
Here's that umpire's home telephone number.
Call tonight.
Keep calling.
Call him later.
Hi, I'm David Duchovny, hosting the season finale of Saturday Night Live with Rod Stewart. Hey, Rod, what are you getting your mom for Mother's Day?
I was thinking get a Rod Stewart album. What do you think?
Oh, that's nice.
Pat Riley arrives a short time ago at Market Square Arena for Game 4. He feels his team should be up 3-0. Instead, they're down 2-1. He's complained about the officiating, which has hurt Patrick Ewing in his view. Ewing, though, is hobbled as well by a calf injury. The tip-off, 3:35 Eastern. Let's go back to Houston.
Hakeem Olajuwon doing severe damage to the Phoenix Suns. In fact, he's been harassing NBA big men for years. Look at what he's doing to the Suns guys. And then back in the 1986 NBA Finals, he even battled our Bill Walton. Take a look. Oh, Bill.
Ouch.
You had a good view of that, though, didn't you?
Larry Bird, at that moment of the game, called timeout, said, Casey Jones, will you please get that guy out of the game?
And he wasn't talking about
me.
Yeah.
He said, get that guy out of there. He took me out. Celtics went on to win. That was the last game I ever played without a broken foot in professional basketball.
3:20 to play here in the third. Drexler trying to go to Chucky Brown, batted out of bounds. Hakeem on the afternoon, 36 and 10.
Hakeem is the 5th leading career scorer in playoff history, 2nd leading block shot leader in playoff history. This is not surprising.
One of the few misses, and Drexler's there to mop up. So it's just been a dramatic turnaround where Kevin Johnson and Charles Barkley dominated games 1 and 2, and it's been Olajuwon and Drexler here. Kevin Johnson knew that they'd be in for a tussle. They felt that if they could come out and really establish themselves and stay close in game 3, they would have a chance to win it. That never happened.
Well, how do you guys explain a team being ready to play as opposed to not being ready to play? I mean, these are the same guys playing the same game under the same rules, just in a different location, but completely different atmosphere.
Mental fatigue. You got the problem that Houston had that long series. The first game was a throwaway with Drexler's ejection. The second game, they're still tired. They just want to get home. They've been on the road for what seems like forever at this time of year. Now they've got their game flowing. And I don't know what's going to take for Phoenix to be able to slow them down other than great shooting.
Because when we saw Rudy Tomjanovich yesterday, he was aching to get his guys out onto the floor for a practice.
Now, he wanted to walk them through. He felt that they needed to go over some things. Olajuwon just overlaid and said, I can't miss a shot that bad.
Elliott Perry. And the loose ball off to the Rockets.
But, you know, what helped the Rockets is a sense of urgency. This team knew that nobody comes back from 3-0. And so they had to have this game, and they played that way. They've made very few mistakes. Here's one. But when you're playing with a sense of urgency, you seem to do and play better knowing that there aren't many tomorrow.
(84-56) Houston with 2 minutes, 10 seconds to play here in the third.
He's still out there trying to steal the ball from Tisdale, blocking shots.
And Tisdale with the follow.
Tisdale's got that little jump hook, which is real tough to block, and he got that one up and down.
I think Hakeem is one of the few players that plays without a knowledge of the score.
Mario Elie open. Second one of those that Elie has rattled around the rim and it hasn't fallen.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me he didn't know what the score was in games 1 and 2?
He plays every play. He comes back and he's starting Tisdale. He's going for this rebound with everything he's got.
Kenny Smith.
It's easier to do as Kenny Smith breaks up the duo of scoring when you're winning, and you're winning just easy. I don't think he was going after everything in Phoenix.
Tisdale. And the Rockets grabbing every loose basketball today.
Drexler to the floor.
And Green fouls Kenny Smith. Let's go to Hannah Storm. Hannah.
This is what appears to be the situation on the Phoenix bench, that Charles Barkley and even Kevin Johnson will not be back in this ball game. The team does not want to risk injury unless, of course, somehow the Phoenix Suns would make this a close game and they would be in contention. It looks like Barkley and KJ may be done for the day. Greg?
You mean to tell me that, Walton, you're going to be right, he might make the record book? 0 for 14. Barkley hasn't made a field goal. Does that put him in the record book?
Is Barkley 0 for 14?
He's 0 for 10.
He's 0 for 10. Well, no. DJ and Reiser stay in the record book at 0 for 14. And I'm sure Dennis will be very happy to hear about that. He's probably calling up Paul Westphal right now and saying, put Barkley in there.
87-58, last 45 seconds of the third. Smith. Phoenix shooting 43% in this series coming in at three-pointers. 0 for 9 from behind the three-point line today.
They're the second best free-throw shooting or three-point shooting team in the NBA behind Houston this year.
Well, they've made very few mistakes for most of the game, and here in the last 2 minutes they're starting to toss the ball up a little bit more, but it certainly won't be enough to help a struggling Phoenix Suns team.
Phoenix has 58 points. They're averaging 129.
They scored more points than that in the first half of each of the first 2 games of the series.
And that's also an interesting thing about the series. In all 3 of the games, the leader has been ahead by 18 or more at the break.
It's still a Rockets kind of day. Houston 87, Phoenix 58 after 3, and we'll return to Houston right after these messages and a word from your local station.
At GMC Truck, we built a reputation for truck strengths. A considerable advantage that also comes in this handy take-home size. Sierra from GMC Truck.
At the end of the day, more top mechanics in America choose One Motor Oil over any other brand to help keep their own cars running longer. Valvoline Motor Oil, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics.
There's something new lurking in the night. Something wild. Something that can't be tamed. And now he wants you to come out and play. Red Wolf is here. Follow your instincts.
Wedding, NBC Monday.
When a traffic jam was 2 cars in the same town, Mobil Oil was there. When Lindbergh crossed the Atlantic, Mobil was on board. Mobil was in the world's first minivans, in the first space shuttle, and in the tanks of Desert Storm. We've been helping engines last for a long time. Mobil. Changing oil for over 125 years.
It's Dodge Dakota Days going on now at your Dodge dealer. We have an extra allocation of 1,200 Dodge Dakotas, America's only true midsize pickup with more hip, shoulder, and cargo room than a comparable Ford Ranger or Chevy S10. And right now, select models also come with $1,000 cash back that you can use toward your down payment. And that includes Dakota Sports with air, AM/FM cassette, and more. So don't miss your chance to take advantage of these big Dakota deals. Get to Dodge Dakota Days for a limited time at your friendly Dodge dealer.
Thank you for watching KSHB TV 41 and NBC.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
Welcome back to Houston. You know, we get all kinds of questions about our guest cameraman, and everybody's wondering who it's going to be today. And oh, my goodness. You know, I can't talk to Steve. Dusty, how you doing? I can't talk to Steve Jones about this, but Bill Walton, I can talk to you about ZZ Top.
One of the great rockers of all time.
Dusty, thanks for being with us.
Hey, I wouldn't miss it. If the Rocket game, I wouldn't miss it.
You know, it looks like you guys when you played.
Dusty is a regular here. A season ticket holder, sits in the front row every game.
Start of the fourth quarter, 87-58 Houston. Drexler. Oh. 21 for Clyde Drexler.
This second half has not given Phoenix any hope.
Well, we go back to the philosophy of this. A loss is a loss, whether you lose by 1 or you lose by 50. And the ones where you lose big, they don't hurt nearly as much as the close ones.
Maybe they're trying to get the Rockets overconfident.
Rockets know they got a hold serve, and certainly this does a lot to boost their confidence tomorrow afternoon.
Tapped home by Chucky Brown. Houston. And another takeaway.
Let's see how long they go with Drexler.
To Sal with a nice pass to Clyde Drexler. Shades. And how long does Rudy T go with his starters now?
Well, most of the starters,
the one that counts is out. and Drexler can play all day.
Well, he's on the way out as well. But, I mean, most of the starters have been down. Smith is down. Ori was out because of fouls. Olajuwon goes down.
Timeout, Phoenix. Look at Sam Cassell with the last pass to Clyde Drexler. Boom. It's 96-58, and this is the NBA on NBC.
Reggie and the Pacers lead the series. A Knicks win ties it up. Game 4 next.
It's a summer of power. A summer of excitement. It's Mitsubishi's summer of thunder. Drive home a 3000 GT. Eclipse. Or Mirage. With 2.9% financing, the electrifying sports cars from Mitsubishi are even easier to handle during the summer of thunder. From Mitsubishi, the new thinking in automobiles.
Dennis, you're just a little bit too tight, man. You need to loosen up. For me? Be provocative. Don't be so conservative. Shake things up. Be shocking. Let your hair down.
Please, lay out the hair, okay?
Over the top, man. Be an individual. So what do you want me to do? Well, you can start by eating your pizza the wrong way. Crust first.
That's weird, man. That's too weird.
Introducing stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut. With a ring of cheese baked into a totally new, thinner crust, you'll want to eat it the wrong way. Crust first.
Let's turn it around. Well, Dave, you crazy, man. You crazy.
Large, just $9.99.
You got the winning color.
My brother is a mechanic, and he told me if I'll change my oil, keep my oil changed, I'll get a lot of miles out of my truck. I use Pennzoil, and I change it every 3,000 miles.
Now with the revolutionary Penn-Star molecule, Pennzoil clings to moving parts, works like liquid ball bearings.
I have high mileage on my truck because I keep my oil changed.
Engine problems? Before you try a tune-up, try gum out first. The solution could be less than $5.
Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft, the cold one. You know the beer, you know the taste. With Miller Genuine Draft, the world's a very cool place.
Miller Genuine Draft presents Genuine Moments.
Today's Miller Genuine Draft Genuine Playoff Moment takes us back just 2 weeks ago to the Rockets' record-breaking performance against the Utah Jazz. Houston hit 19, count them, 19 three-pointers that shatter the record set against them last season by the Phoenix Suns. Houston coach Rudy Tomjanovich is one who enjoyed it.
It was a game that we're going to put in the vault. I don't know how many playoff games they're going to ever have like that.
In recognition of this moment, Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Three-pointers have not been going the way of the Suns today, but they have for the Houston Rockets.
The story with Houston has always been since Hakeem Olajuwon got here 11 years ago. If your perimeter guys are draining their jumpers, there's no way you can win. That has been the case today, as it was in Utah.
Here's the first three of the day for the Suns. Wesley Person has it.
They came back with Ori and Kenny Smith along with Drexler, so they still have starters out there on the court, and they've got 10 minutes to play.
Robert Ori goes off the glass.
It's a shot that you couldn't quite find yesterday, Greg. Little horse game.
I don't want to talk about it.
Phoenix has to start worrying about their all-time playoff low, which was 80 points. Consecutive three-pointers by Ainge and Wesley Person. That 80 points was in the Boston final series back in 1976.
Well, you've got a 32-point lead, and Drexler is a guy that's making the plays down on the low block for everybody else. Their defense is going to relax from this point on, so that lead is going to come down.
Ori, and he drew the foul. You know, the interesting thing about this, we expected the Rockets to come back charged up, but we didn't expect this kind of a turnaround.
All of our comments yesterday as Ori gets the stick back, which has been huge all game long on the offensive glass for Houston, but we were so impressed yesterday with the demeanor of the Phoenix Suns coming in so focused and the concentration of Barkley as Drexler finally takes a seat with very solid numbers, almost a triple-double.
23, 9, and 8.
He is the active career leader in triple-doubles, Drexler is in the NBA.
Now, when you look ahead to tomorrow's game, the Phoenix Suns are going to try to come out and establish themselves, one with Charles Barkley down low, and they're going to try to get their defensive energy up to where they have pressure on the ball, and they make it difficult for Olajuwon to get the ball.
But Phoenix has allowed Olajuwon and Drexler to get their rhythm. And it's not like these guys are just average players. Olajuwon and Drexler, they're going to the Hall of Fame. These are like career players who dominated this league for years. They're not going to be easily taken out of their game. I think Phoenix did not put up enough of a fight today.
The Suns take these guys too lightly then?
I don't know if they took them too lightly, but if you're to say a team is ready to play or not ready to play, as Robert Ori said, I've been watching Olajuwon. I'm going to take some of his stuff. They just met a team that was more aggressive and needed to compete a lot worse. You know, beating a good team in a sweep situation is very difficult to do. And the defending champions had their back to the wall, and they're trying to stay in that route that's only been done 10 times to be down 2 games and come back, win a series, and keep going.
Well, the Rockets maintain, as Tilka is fouled, the Rockets maintain that game 1 was an anomaly because Drexler was ejected, and that game 2, they were just simply flat. What are the chances of the Rockets coming back flat tomorrow after a performance like this?
I don't think the Rockets will be flat.
I think they'll be sharp as can be. Their crowd will be on them. The most important thing is to realize that it won't be easy. You got to come out. And Akeem and Drexler are enough veterans. And the hunger that Drexler provides. This team comes in with Akeem, he's got his championship, he's got his MVP. Drexler does not. And that's one of the key factors of this trade. Drexler pushing everybody. But that guy, he does not want his career to end without that diamond ring.
By the same token, Charles Barkley will not come out and go 0 for tomorrow.
There's no question. We're going to see a different Charles Barkley tomorrow afternoon. And, you know, Barkley's sitting and watching and thinking about all of the things that he didn't do well today. I bet he's never had a game like that in his life. When you think back in high school, college, all the pro games this guy's played, he's never had a game where he didn't make a shot.
Charles Barkley is MVP material himself. Obviously, he's going to the Hall of Fame. The last 2 MVPs are in this series. They're not the multiple winners that have dominated that award over the years. Jabbar was 6, Russell 5, Chamberlain 4 MVPs, and Bird, Magic, Jordan, and Moses with 3 each MVPs. And there's the league winning to go around. Well, those 7 guys have won 27 of the 39 possible MVPs.
John Kabak.
You know, Kabak, who also gets to play against Olajuwon, trying to do that Olajuwon thing, find a body to spin off of.
6:06 to play. We'll take a timeout. On the flip side, you'll hear from Marv Albert and Matt Gukas in Indianapolis. Stay tuned.
My, what big ears you have.
All the better to hear you with, my dear.
And what big eyes you have.
The better to see you with, my dear.
Real red, real smooth. Red Wolf.
My, what big teeth you have. What are they for? Oh, my.
Follow your instincts.
With the power of 210 horses and the traction of all-wheel drive, it'll turn more than heads. The all-new 1995 Eclipse from Mitsubishi. The new thinking in automobiles.
I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, I took the high endurance challenge from Old Spice. Because I didn't really think it could work better than my old deodorant. But it does. It evaporates less quickly, it also lasts longer, protects better. Try it. If you don't think it's the best, call 1-800-PROVE-IT and they'll buy you a stick of yours. So if you still think every deodorant works the same, take the high endurance challenge from Old Spice. Because now you got proof. Guaranteed.
Marv Albert at Market Square Arena in Indianapolis. The Knicks and the Pacers getting ready for Game 4 of the best of 7. A look at the Pacers in their locker room as they review tape of Thursday night's Game 3, won by Indiana in another stirring come-from-behind effort. Meanwhile, in the less luxurious visitors' quarters, the Knicks preparing for what is certainly a must game. A loss by the Knicks here today, and they are down 3-1. The series shifting back to Madison Square Garden in New York for a Game 5 on Wednesday night. So it's the Knicks and the Pacers coming up following Houston and Phoenix. Now let's get to the summit and return to Greg Gumbel.
All right, Marv, and in the Eastern Conference, the playoff picture is thus. Orlando leading 2-1, Indiana 2-1.
The Knicks, like Houston, play their best with their backs to the wall. Ewing has to come up big, and the Knicks have to figure out how to close out a team. They've been really struggling there. Now, the Orlando series, that situation, Chicago showing very little team play out there. Everybody playing for themselves, and they can't shoot the ball. Nick Anderson for Orlando has been magnificent in all aspects of the game.
So you're about to change the way you feel about the Chicago Bulls right here in the middle of this series.
They had a chance. Chicago, you can't throw away chances like that. But if Akeem is the current king as the MVP, Jordan probably qualifies as one of the all-time kings.
Rebound, Charles Jones.
Well, you're crowning people all over the place. And I want to see you eventually crowned for a winner.
Guys, we're talking about Charles Barkley earlier. This is his 91st career playoff game, and it's only the third time that he has failed to score in double figures. He scored 9 points against Washington in 1985, and he scored 9 against Boston in 1985.
And this is a good opportunity for him. Westfall's got him out of there early. Sit over there, think about it, get angry, get mad, which we thought he was coming in. He's in terrific shape, and he's feeling better than ever. Weighing in at about 250. At one time he weighed in at 310.
Three again. I wonder if you guys had days like that.
310.
No, not 310.
The game is overwhelming for him. I never had a game where I couldn't make at least one shot. And I think that you as a scorer, you always feel that you're going to get something to go in. And when Barkley left the last time and he couldn't get that one layup to go in, he knew that with a league climb, he was basically done.
I felt like I played like that most every game.
Chucky Brown. You know, Bill, I believe in the ask a silly question, you get a silly answer, but it was a legitimate question.
It was a very a guy as good as Barkley, even when you get 30, he's thinking, I didn't do anything out there. he'll feel happy and satisfied when they have the championship parade.
Kept out of bounds by Tabak, and it goes over to the Suns, who are trailing 108-75, 4:32 to play in this game, as the Rockets have pushed themselves right back to the forefront of this series.
Well, this may be Charles Barkley's most memorable game. I mean, of all of the great games he's had, you may think about this one and remember, hey, it was the worst night I ever had. And out of it, he still ended up perhaps winning the series. So he's sitting there, he's knowing that these guys can't play better than this. So I'm expecting tomorrow's game is going to be a tough one.
What Westball has to be hugely concerned about is the lack of effort by the Phoenix Suns right now. They're just getting run off this court, not getting back on defense, not hustling for loose balls.
Kevin Johnson, who has been so dominant in the backcourt.
Have you ever seen a team play well when they're getting hammered? I mean, you can't do it. You don't have the energy. You look at the scoreboard, your will is broken.
Children, make nice guys. We have to take a timeout. I'll be back.
You're watching the NBA playoffs on NBC.
I will not self-destruct. I am indestructible. Big up to my folks, Lanny 3, Lassiter, and Thompson. Because of them, I am strong. I can face the dawn. Because of them, I am a rock. I am a diamond. I'm rough, yet I am polished. Because of them, you can't stop me. No matter what, I will not self-destruct. I am indestructible.
Financial concerns, medical problems, anxiety about the future. 50 million Americans turn for help to one particular company, a company whose sole purpose has always been to bring them to a different state of mind. Peace of mind, security, protection, optimism. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
It's a summer of power, a summer of excitement. It's Mitsubishi's summer of thunder.
The time to enjoy electrifying leases on the 3000 GT.
Eclipse. Mirage.
With a lease on the Mirage S for $159 a month.
During the summer of thunder. From Mitsubishi, the new thinking in automobiles.
Sunday, the NBA playoffs continue. First, Sir Charles and the Suns tip things off against the Rockets. Then, Nick Van Exel led the Lakers to victory in Game 3. Now, Mr. Robinson and the Spurs trying to regain control. And in prime time, number 23's back to his old ways. But Shaq and the Magic have the series lead. Sunday on NBC.
And a story back at the Summit last year when the Rockets were down 0-2 to Phoenix, Kenny Smith penned this message on his shoes. 2 W's. He was prophetic. They went and tied the series in Phoenix. Same scenario this year, down 0-2, and Kenny, who is very superstitious, decided to take those exact same shoes out of the mothballs and wear them today. So far, with the same results. Greg?
Must be the shoes.
Halfway.
Kenny Smith with the basketball. Coming up on 3:40 to play in the game. Out of bounds to the Suns, or to the Rockets.
Rockets get all the breaks today, and Rudy's got to feel good about it, but he won't have any time to really, celebrate. Tomorrow's a different ball game, and he knows he's going to see a different team. You look at the lineup out there: Klein, Shea, Ames, Trevor Ruffin, and Elliott Terry. Paul Westphal has long since mailed this one in.
The Houston Rockets starting 5 has outscored the Suns starters 93-42 today. Chucky Brown.
From the CBA to the NBA playoff, one big jump. Partner selection so crucial. Team up with Akeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. That'll get it done.
About 2:50 to play here. Once we're done, we'll send you to Indianapolis for Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinal series between the Pacers and the Knicks.
Now, what's interesting about Game 4 there will be whether the Indiana Pacers have the killer instinct. They got a huge chance to really put some pressure on the New York Knicks, who are not only physically ailing, but psychologically ailing, because they've had 3 games that they could have won.
The Pacers have been there before, and they haven't got it done. Late in the regular season, they've lost at Market Square to the Knicks in a very important game for home court advantage in this series between the two teams. And in last year, Game 6, all on the line. They could have moved on to the finals. They did not get it done.
A real key question there, too, is the health of Patrick Ewing.
Ewing is what he is. I mean, he's going to come out and play. He hopes he can stay in the game, not get in foul trouble, and give them something. But physically, he's not even close to the Patrick Ewing that was such a force a year ago in the playoffs.
John Tabak misses at the buzzer, and back comes Trevor Ruffin for the Suns, who will put up a 3.
We spend a lot of time worrying about the health of guys like Ewing and Akeem. They answer the bell time in and out. Ewing has missed something like 9 games in the last 10 years.
Under 2 minutes to play. Game 4 of this series tomorrow here on NBC.
All this does is every team will have won at least 1 game, is really validate the idea that this championship is wide open, that any team can win, and if you're hot and you stay hot at the right time, you can get to 15 before anybody else. Before last night, everyone felt that San Antonio had an edge, and then they got smacked by the Lakers.
Bill Walton will stay here and be joined by Dick Enberg tomorrow. Steve and I are off to the Forum in Los Angeles,
where that series is wide open at this point.
The Spurs and the Lakers.
They probably don't want you making predictions about them, though.
Dennis Rodman has to do a lot more than he did in Game 3.
Trevor Ruffin on the drive. The rookie from Hawaii has 4 points.
Trevor Ruffin is an offensive player who really can score the ball for a lot of points in a short period of time. So every time he gets, you can look for something to come up out of his hand.
Less than 50 seconds to play. Chucky Brown into 3.
Chilcutt's got a 3. Horry's got Chucky Brown's got 3. Robert Horry and Dennis Rodman speaks.
The epitome is laid back. Perry with the steal. Can't convert. Goes up again. 30 seconds to play. Charles Jones fouled by Shays down the lane.
Coaches look at players like this and say, get it over. Don't foul it even. Just let us get out of here and go home.
Without getting hurt.
Yes, that's right.
What, you don't have any Charles Jones notes? One of 4 brothers to play in the NBA. Albany State College. 3 of his brothers played here for the Houston Rockets.
No, what do you mean? I played with and against 2 of his brothers, Will and Caldwell.
Caldwell, one of the great defensive centers in basketball's history.
Welcome to Old Home Week here on NBC. And the fans taunting Charles Barkley.
Probably a mistake.
Charles does not look amused. Phoenix just 40% on the day from the floor. Houston 54 as they win their first. We'll have interviews back here at the Summit. This one is all over. The Rockets 118. The Suns 85. 2 games to 1. The Phoenix Suns lead this series. We'll be back.